Manino se finangana o Kvzk Tv le tūlanga le tamau ainga ma le ati nae o le atunuu. Whaalawi no le atatifanga e whaatatau le au soka a Amerika Samoa le whaaiungo le vai aso. Ma ua tanu mai le vaatele le whaava o le Navy le atunuu le USS Canberra. Te whaatalo whaatu se whaapopongo tala mai lau Kvzk, whaafutaili whaatasi mai lo tātou o tunuu, o nei tala lo tu sawatu mai lo tātou ofisa I utulei. E mumu atu I se vaenga fuanga le malo mo le tau mawhainga o isi awala ati na ati diai le tamau ainga, e peona yese fuanga mo le tu whaatasi o se taiala, o tau o le Public and Private Framework, e mawhai e pisnisi o na whaangana tupe whaafhainga wenga I ati na le malo. O le finangano le fionga le Kvzk ale manu palepoi se ale ngā maunga. O lo manino I sana tusi le aso 5 Juni, le sa tu ina atu le US Government Accountability Office, o sa vaenga le reporti o tau o le Public Debt Outlook lua feluas fultolu. I dea reporti o lo tau ai whapea. O le tūlanga le tamau aingo le atunu o lo isa tūlanga le leia pitai. O lo whaawau peo na whaalangolango le tamau aingo Amerika Samoa le whalei e sa tala mangadwenga le malo. Na sau no le manu ua mai ona whaalawi loi vaenga o tau le American Samoa State Small Business Initiative e mawai e business I laiti le hawa no motu pe maua. O loo sila fo I le whainga malo e ati na e so to inga whaanei ona po, e whao ngai a wala so to inga whaateko no kolosi, ma o loo fo I le whainga malo e whausia se no whanga so to inga whaanei ona po, e whaato sina mai ai business I tau IT, o mai a fo inga aruenga mo le whausia o se Medical Plaza I le Pakaliona. Sa no fo I le awhionga le Kvzk, o loo I se tūlanga le inga aruenga te tele mati na e loo whaatinoina, le iei fuanga mo ngā aruenga se fulu, mo ngā aruenga whaalelea fia whaatino I le taulanga. O ia fuanga le a whaalelea ma whaaulelei vaenga o tulei se ia o I pango. O le whaiunga vea sona te nei, na tunu mai ele a tunu ula li New Zealand whai atu ti whangalawi loi Amerika ia taika Waititi. O se vaenga o le masani e le whale ti whanga I nuuli, o le pole asa to nai, le tumutumu o tangatu le atunu e moli mawina se tasi o ata ti whangalawi loa. O se au te lenga le nei, o le reporti mai a Gregory Kuresa.
O le ata tifanga wata ua le the next cold winds, o le ata le nei na whaalia whaapitoa I le awhiawhio le aso toa nai na te nei. E pe iona sila fia o le ata tifanga le nei na whaatatau, e se tasio ta alonga na malolo ai le au soka Amerika Samoa, I le awa au Italia, le na tolus fumaratasi ai au Italia, I le lea I Amerika Samoa. E se whaatataranoanga a lau Kvzk, ma le li o taika waitiri. Na ia sauno ai e whaapea o loo iai le naunau ta inga e whainisi ata tifanga e whaalawi loa ai lava le tele o talaanga o tātou tangata Pasifika. Ma na ia sauno foi o se awa noa ta ua le nei e mawhai ai o na whai le nei ata tifanga e whaalawi loa ai le nei foi ta longa wa lawi loa ai le tana whaasolopito Amerika Samoa. E peo na si le fia o le ata tifanga le nei o loo whaatatau le awa Amerika Samoa le na awa iai machaya sailua I le nei au soka. O le li lawi loa I le whai ata tifanga le li Oscar Knightley, na ia saunoa e tele manonoa I utala anga o Samoa, ma le Pasifika e whetau I tutusa le lei, ma le whaia o ata tifanga.
O le wala tunu na vaatele lo whaava ale malo tele le USS Canberra. O le nei va ale Navy o se va fou malo whaingoina le laumu Australia. O se pini o le whainga wo mawhana Amerika ma le malo Australia. O le va ale nei o le va alona lua le nei ale malo tele. Ua tau avei nai le ngō le laumu Australia. O le va ale nei e tusalo na sawa ma le 5 maila ma o se tasa le nei o va o whaava Amerika o whaamawina lona sawa tele. o lo whātua tonga ina iau penga whaona po nei iau whiei mea tau whaatonu tonu e whana le sami e whaingatau nei loa le reida mai mawhai o na whaatonu tonu se awala e le mawhai e o nei longo fie le fili e lua i le nei o vaa u whaingoina le lau mua Australia ma le vaa mua o le US Canberra na whaingoina tonu lava i le teimina saini ai se whenga inga tau puipuinga Australia ma Amerika ma New Zealand le tausanga e awhi se lau li matasi. Au yeli USS Canberra i le atunu o le awhiawhinei le tali malo ai le awhionga le kovana siri ma le malo e ala se tau mafutanga e whaia i le maungo lii. I le teimina tala ina ai tua o i le mai ai o le COVID-19 maliva, na mautino ai le si o le whai numero tangata e malanga i le vao Samoa e lua, ono lea tūlanga na vai ai fo i le to tele o tangata i le o sta ia ia ingo whi malanga inga Samoa tu dotasi, wha apei mawhainga masani o whi malanga inga wha vao malo. I se talanoanga lau KVCK, ma le tomaitai o te mukisa i a peisi o le official consulo Samoa, na ia whautua ina i tangata o ta awa US Nationals, ina ia whaatino ina pemita ina ia mawhai o na malanga atu i Samoa tu dotasi. E peona maseli ai o pemita nei na o tangata Nationals ai le mawhai ai le awhiai tangata Sitseni ma tangata o isi atunuu ma o nei pemita e mawhai o na maua le official consula i whangatongo. Whaalia fo e te mukisa o tangata lo whaongaina CI le au ngā mo le tausanga e tasi e le mawhai o na whaongaina e malanga i Samoa pe a whai e toi ono masina lo tutoio le CI. Ono o tūla fono wha malanga inga wha malo lea e au whiai ma Samoa le mafuanga lea pe ona wha amalamlama i te mukisa. Sa no whai te mukisa o e tangata i te mawhai malanga i Samoa e whaongaina i idea le federale ai le mawhai lea tūlanga ono Samoa o le atunu ututu o tasi o le mafuanga lea e le tau wai lava o na whaonga tusi folau. Tata reporting man whaamasinoga e ono awhetala le tupelo o tau whiaile lii o tuai fuaina laki vai puu ono morianga le talepe fale le tūlanga lua ma morianga e fitu le ngoi. I whaamaumaunga le tua le malolo o ta wai e whaapea o le neima ta upuna tūla i mai le masino me le ena mawaina e leo sa wala au mai le li o David Savai e tu sailo na fale o ngā ia o lo tua ia sa iai tawita i dungo na pasi ma sa ia wa ai le o molia ma se ato whaafafa e tu salava malana ato o na pu e le tawita le ata o le o molia ma whaari atu i lona tina na whaalia tawita leo e whaapea e tele mea tō tino na tō e se au fiai se sipika o le mea whai barbecue ma le ano noai o mea tō tino o ngā ia e peo na tā ua tawita o nei mea uma i whaaruinai se vanga tupe sidia ma le tōru wafe tā la. I whaamaumaunga le whaamasinoga lo manino ai e whaapea o le li o vai puu na molia mua e le tausanga i lua afe sfurvalu i le talepe fale ma le ngoi. I nisi o talo le asa tōna ina te nei na asia ia tama whanau Amerika Samoa le atunuu di tau le taalongo le lakapi po le football ia se yuli Jesse Sapolu whaapea i maa tanovasa Marino May. O sao te lenga le neo le reporti mai a Gregory Kuresa.
I le whamoemoe le whanau i le vaiasu na te nei na mawai le avanoa e whelua iai le whanau ma nei li i tau taua i le nei vo i taalongo le football. Ona o le lava o le tomai le nei taalongo le football le mafuanga le nei na whaatu tai e le nei sauninga e tu whaatasi ai whanau wa onga maurunga tiktasi a le atunuu o lo ta alo le football ina ia o lantou muri mawina ma whaarongolongo i ti ma inga ma whautuanga e peo na tu ina mai e nei yalo Amerika Samoa. I le saunoanga le rei o Chesi Sampolu na ia saunoai e whaapea e tā ua i so se tangata Samoa o na tau ave no na atunuu ma fōlinga wa ai au luna ainga o le whaaloalo o lau tū ma lau tūtala o vaenga fo ia na saunoa iai le lii o maatan vasa.
Tatu tala mai apia o tupe whaanganga Samoa mai whafo e o mai a me lua whelua sfultoro whaamawina e tasi tesi o tasi piriona mana tā ua le whale tupe tūtu tono se tūlanga maua lunga lea le tala whaasalopito ma wātanga e se tūlanga lei whafo mo le tamau aingo Samoa e o mai le teminei o tupe whaanganga le atunu o lo mau mai so soani alo ia mai paanga tau wati nae a Samoa ma vaenga tū ma oti mai tupe mo mai turisi o whaamomoli ma tupe mo mai whafo ma le tele o isi vaenga i le sosoani tāua ma le whaawapea mai paanga Samoa i tausanga o mawai ai mai so le tolu tausanga taruai o sosoani ai le tali ato le malo i le whaama e COVID-19 maliva o le toi tatalaino tua oi wha malo Samoa taru mai au kusa lua whelua sfururua ma le toi fausio pesnisi tau turisi i le maulungo tupe whaamomoli mai whafo o te leso na sao le tūlanga o i nei tupe whaanganga a le malo Samoa. Tātou tala ma le Pasifika, o le tala le tupe sili o le malotonga, le amautinoa, e mawhaie le atunu o na toe manuia mai e whaalawalai whaafosei, ma whaalawalai whaale natura, o se saunoanga lea mai se sui tusi tala o le reitua New Zealand. O le vai asa na te nei na Pasifika le pale mene tonga, se pake te tolu sa lau tolu sultasi miliona mo le tausanga whaale tupe, lua afe lua sfultolu, lua afe lua sfulfaa. I le taimo le ilolonga na autasi ai sui o le pale mene, i le sfulfaa le ioe, ale se sina whaatu ese. O le tala le tupe o lo toe ai lua sufitu tesi ma le 2 miliona paanga e maua lo ifo nai lo le tausanga o te nei le tolu valu tesi ma le tasi miliona paanga. O nisi o tala o tupe whaasosoa nisi o matanga ruenga e leo mawhai o na whaalau te leina. Ia usi mai lona mai moa le tātou reported day le tau mo Amerika Samoa mo le nei a fiafi. O tala nai mea lo te tupu le tātou tunu le nei aso le ngā te leo le tātou ripoti le tūlanga le tau mo Amerika Samoa la whaisi na tātou malolonga pupua to te mai na winātu leo tātou tala i ngana Peritania. You're watching the news from Kvzk Tv. Joyera Whengai Mali will join us with our news in English right after this.
The American Samoa government is working towards formalizing a public-private framework. Private screening of the next Go Wins saw Hollywood actors at the local theater in Nuuli. The USS Canberra, with the top speed of around 50 miles per hour, is one of the fastest ships in the U.S. Navy is in the territory. Talofa, this is your evening news live from our KVCK studios here in Whangatongo. Leading the news, Governor Lemanu Palipoisialenga Maunga says efforts to diversify the local economy and that the American Samoa government are working towards formalizing a public-private framework, allowing investments by the territory's business development. The governor's statement is outlined in his June 5th letter to the U.S. Government Accountability Office in response to the American Samoa segments in the Public Debt Outlook 2023 updated report. According to the GAO, American Samoa's economy is stable, but depends almost entirely on the activity generated by the star-kissed Samoa company Tuna Cannery and government employment. The governor said ASG will be launching the American Samoa State Small Business Credit Initiative, which will allow local businesses access to capital prioritizing. Also, they are working towards developing the broadband industry and plans to build an innovation and technology park to attract IT businesses to utilize 200 gigabyte broadband capacity. Plans and design to construct a medical plaza facility are also underway as a tech hub in the South Pacific region. The governor said the local construction industry is also booming, with 10 specified projects under the Downtown Revitalization Master Plan. This effort upgrades critical infrastructure from Utule to Pangopango. And one of the key projects in that space includes a commercial boardwalk for more business towards formalizing a public partnership framework. These are prime examples of how ASG strategically diversifies the local economy. In other news, Taika Waititi, the Oscar-winning director of Thor, was in American Samoa over the weekend for a private screening of the next Go Wins, along with Samoan actor Oscar Knightley and screenplay writer Ian Morris. The movie will be released in November. Here is more with Gregory Kuresa.
The highly anticipated Next Goal Wins is finally set to release in November after a series of stumbles and missteps during production. Though originally shot in 2019 to 2020, production resumed after Will Arnett was called to replace Armie Hammer. Next Goal Wins is Taika Waititi's take on a sports comedy, with the upcoming film retelling the infamous story of American Samoa's bottom-feeding soccer team. After suffering an embarrassing 31-0 loss to Australia, the team hopes to rebound with the guidance of a Dutch soccer coach, Michael Fassbender, who posed unorthodox methods.
Well, this is just about bringing the story that comes from here back home and allowing it to be seen by some of the people who were part of the story and some of the people who know people who were part of the story. And I think most of the people here in Pango know the story, and I think it's just a chance for them to see it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of the people have seen the documentary that was made about the team. And what we've done, and what Hollywood likes to do, is they like to take a really good true story and they like to embellish it and change a few things here and there and make it a little bit more Hollywood. And so this is that version where we've just taken license with a few things, but made it a really entertaining film. So we want people to laugh and to cry and to just to celebrate the team and the people.
Taika told Kvzk News that he is thrilled about the movie and wants to do more movies for our Pacifica people, an opportunity to tell our own stories.
Well, this story is an ultimate underdog story, and I always love people love good sports films, and usually the best sports films are to do with underdog teams who are down and out, and who just through spirit and soul and belief managed to pick themselves up, and sometimes with a little help of an outsider, managed to find that spirit and move past those obstacles and finally, in the case of this story, win.
Chaya Sanlua was part of the team. She has become a global champion for the rights of transgender and Fa'afafine athletes. Almost disbelievingly finds her life portrayed in the upcoming Hollywood film.
This whole event was very last minute, and I was very excited at first, and then I became anxious leading up to tonight, only because I've never actually organized a screening like this, but I've been to a lot of film festivals enough to understand how the process of hosting an event like this is. But it's surreal, and even after the documentary came out in 2014, and after knowing that Taika was interested in making this remake, the idea of a certain part of my life being immortalized into a Hollywood feature film still is so surreal to me, and I guess all I can do is just ride this journey and and hope that a lot of people from our community, but most especially people outside of the Samoan culture, have a better understanding of acceptance and of tolerance, and people who are different from who they are regularly accustomed to.
Families of Jaya Salua and soccer clubs around the territory attended the private screening at the Recall movie theatres on Saturday night. Oscar Vai Toelau Nightly, who plays a significant role in the movie, shared his personal experience as this is the first time being in American Samoa. The Samoan-born New Zealand actor, television presenter, writer, journalist, director, and comedian. He acted in and co-wrote the successful 2006 film Sione's Wedding.
I love it. I love it. You know, it's taken me my whole life to come to Kukuila. I can't believe it. And, because we're all one country before, until 1900. So it's so nice to come to the eastern part of our Samoan islands. I love it.
Oscar said the movie brought out that Samoa stories are fantastic and we Polynesian belong on that big screen and so many stories need to be told.
I saw the documentary when it came out in 2014 and I just loved it. And I knew straight away, man, this would make a really good, this is the sort of story that Hollywood would take and make it into something else. But I'm so glad that the documentary was made because everybody can see the original people, the original faces, the original characters, and then they can come and watch what Taika's done and Ian's written and adapted it and just made it really enjoyable and entertaining and kind of blew the story up. So make sure you see the documentary first.
I have seen it.
Yeah.
Tell us about Jaya's story, really, because it's really her story that this whole thing came to. Tell us a little bit, what do you think about it?
That was my favourite thing about the documentary, was the way it showed the football team from here featuring Jaya, but that was the drama and the struggle wasn't. It was about the sports team. She was part of the family, and that I really enjoyed seeing Jaya's story in the documentary. I think it was kind of the magic of it for me, and so it's great. We've got an actress, Kaimana, playing Jaya's part, and she's beautiful as well. And yeah, so Taika's a really awesome filmmaker, as everyone knows, but because of he is where he's from and he has a sensitivity about these things, he approaches it from a really pure way with lots of integrity, and so I think Jaya's story is preserved and fleshed out and changed a little bit and made even more colourful. But yeah, that aspect of the original doco survives in this film.
The USS Canberra, an Independence variant combat ship, holds the designation USS Canberra LCS 30 with its home port in Naval Base San Diego, California, United States of America, and has docked at the port in Whangatongo. With a top speed of around 50 miles per hour, it is one of the fastest ships in the U.S. Navy. Armed with Naval Strike Missile, a sea-skimming cruise missile that is difficult to spot on radar and can maneuver to avoid enemy defenses. The ship is the second U.S. naval vessel to bear the Canberra name. The ship was laid down on March 10, 2020, and was launched on the 30th of March, 2021. It is the second ship in the history of the United States Navy that has held the name Canberra, per the order of wartime President Franklin Roosevelt to honor the courage of the HMAS Canberra, a heavy cruiser in the Royal Australian Navy in the Battle of Savo during the Second World War. Governor Lemanu Palipoisialenga Maunga will host the Navy officers at his mansion for a reception this evening to honor their visit to the territory. In other news, the opening of borders has seen an influx of travel between the two Samoas. This also saw several pertinent issues faced by the Office of Samoa's Consul General due to people not heeding Samoa's immigration and international travel policies. Temukisa Yapesi, a Consul General of Samoa, in an interview with KVZK, reminded that U.S. nationals are obligated to retain entry permits before they can board a flight or the ferry for Samoa. She said this entry permit only targets U.S. nationals. In contrast, other passport holders can enter Samoa without an entry permit, given their status, which is valid for 9 months, adding that U.S. nationals cannot board the flight or ferry without the entry permit issued by the Samoa Consul Office in Whangatongo. According to Ms. Pesi, while valid for 1 year, people who use a certificate of identity cannot use it to travel to Samoa when the CI expires in 6 months. International immigration laws apply to Samoa, and if you travel in December and your CI expires in December, you cannot use it. She said your CI validity must be over 6 months. Another issue she cited is that Samoa does not allow U.S. nationals to travel to foreign countries, like Samoa using their country's federal ID. It can be used when trying to return to the territory, but not when traveling to a foreign country. In news from the court, Tuaifuaina Laki Va'apu'u has been charged with breaking into a family home in Auasi. Va'apu'u is held on bail of $6,000 on charges of burglary second degree, trespassing, and 7 counts of stealing. According to the government's case, in May, police received a call from David Savai regarding his burglarized Auasi home. It's alleged that David was on the bus and saw the accused with a backpack identical to his bag. David then took photos of the accused and showed his mother, who confirmed that she knew him as Tony because he used to live with them before when he was younger. David told police it was uncovered that his mother's jewelry box was stolen. It's alleged that a taxi driver dropped off the backpack and, upon opening the bag, found clothes and slippers which belonged to David. Other items stolen from the house in Avaio were a speaker, a grill, cell phone, a jewelry, a laptop, and a watch. The total estimated value of the stolen items was more than $4,000. Court filings say police records revealed that Va'apu'u was charged with previous burglaries, and he was found guilty in one of the cases in 2018 and was sentenced to probation until 2025. Local high school football players and their coaches received intensive, top-notch instruction in a one-day football camp last Saturday, which was facilitated by the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame, the Hawaii-based nonprofit organization that was established in 2013 to honor Polynesia's greatest players, coaches, and contributors. Here is more with Gregory Kuresa.
Co-founded by two of the game's legend with Samoan ancestry, Seyuli Jesse Sapolu and Ma'atan Fasa, it was coordinated with the American Samoa High School Athletes Association. Saturday's champ had a relatively even spread of players from high schools in the territory. Sapolu was impressed by the crop of linemen. According to Jesse, there are a lot of players that should be Division I prospects when they reach junior and senior levels. Jesse Sapolu let out a belly laugh as he gazed across the Veterans Memorial Stadium and had hundreds of players engaged in skills drills despite the hot sun.
You know, I did a little special with Manti Te'o as he's trying to fight his way back from the experience that he went through. And he says something that was very, very profound. He said that as he was going through those challenges that affected him mentally, he always remembered what his dad said to him. In a Samoan culture, it's who you are that you represent. But most important is whose you are. Think about that. Whose you are is even more important. That's what separates Samoan culture from anything else. When I won my 4 Super Bowls with the San Francisco 49ers, I knew who I was. But the most important thing is I knew the people that I had to represent. the way I walk, the way I open my mouth, and the way I conducted myself. Do you understand that? You understand that, okay?
The two sons of American Samoa who made it big in football, Ma'atadwasa and Reno May, are accompanying Jesse for this year's Pacific Football Champ.
Great to be back. You guys have the opportunity. As I was coming up here, Coach Nalu or Brother Nalu was telling me, hey, make sure you go out there, bring the kids up, your linemen that you're about to go on the field with, and let them set the rules, set the standards of what we want and the things that we're going to have out there on the field. So I was thinking, Jesse said it the best. When he goes on that football field, right, and he gets a cut on that field, it's not just blood that's going on there, it's Samoan blood, it's your koko, yeah, it's from within. And that's you guys. It doesn't matter what school you come from, whether it's Tafuna, Leone, Samoana, Whangaitua, it doesn't matter where you're from. You guys have your, your little things against each other when you guys go on the field, which is good. But after it's all said and done, you guys are Samoan. Your blood is your blood. You come on the field, you're not your school you're representing, you're representing Polynesian football.
Sapolu, the former University of Hawaii and San Francisco 49ers legend, told Kvzk News he was of two minds about the level of exposure, envious that the current generation of local players can be seen so quickly, and proud of himself, and he put in the work in the days when no one was watching until the actual games happened.
In news from Apia, Samoa's foreign reserves as of May 2023 have been recorded at 1.01 billion tala, and the central bank says this is a historical high and reflecting a healthy external position for the Samoan economy to date. At this level, it was equivalent to 10.3 months to 10 months of import cover, while above the minimum of 4 months of import of goods, which is considered sufficient for the viability of Samoa's foreign reserves. The country's foreign exchanges reserves are primarily sourced from the inflow of official aid from Samoa's development partners and private sector inflows from tourism receipts, remittances, and export earnings, to name a few. The valuable and ongoing assistance from Samoa's development partners over the years, and particularly the last 3 years to assist with the government's COVID-19 response, the reopening of Samoa's international borders since August last year, and the steady rebuilding of the tourism industry, in addition to high private remittances, have contributed notably to the current level of official foreign reserves. In news from the region, Tonga's largest ever budget will ensure the country can recover from COVID and natural disasters, Radio New Zealand Pacific's correspondent says. Last week, Parliament passed a budget totaling $331 million for financial year 2023-2024. It was passed unanimously at the end of a long session at the Parliament in Nuku'alofa. The budget leaves a deficit of 27.2 million pa'anga, lower than last year's budget, a deficit of 38.1 million pa'anga. The full details of the budget, such as the specific amounts of allotted funds to each ministry, are yet to be publicly revealed. Pending the release of the published budget report, Minister of Finance and National Planning, Teofulusi Tiweti, told Parliament the two ministries with the highest funding are infrastructure and finance. Up next is your weather forecast for Tutuila, Aunu, and Manua. That concludes your evening news tonight. So far, so far.